And start recording. Okay, was just recording that we have continued preparing for the final examination. Yeah, we are continuing preparing ourselves for the impending exams that are fast approaching. And so what you're trying to do is to revise, and on our lists, the priority is to ensure that we go through all the assignment, all the tests. That's for your own guide. Go through all the assignments you have had, go through all the tests that you have had, and go through the most recent past papers. Yeah, so since it is already revision, as I have already said, the chances are very high that you might already have ideas. You already know these things, actually. So don't worry, we are not here to speak about very strange things. We are here to talk about the same things that you know, but we just want to re-echo the same things, right? So that you can manage to remember when the time comes. Before us is the test that you wrote during residentials. According to what I have received, people have asked me to pass my comment on this. You may find that it's one of the questions in an exam. I don't know. So let me just start reading the question in your hearing, and try to mute Uncle Nyarenda so that we are good. Okay. All right. So the question is saying, and I request you to pay so much attention, because next time the question may be asking for something else. I'll give more information actually than what is asked. So it's our opportunity, it's our time to pay attention so that we can even get more details than what we might have. So the following information has been submitted, to you by a lender of a team of retirees who are, or a leader of a team of retirees who are making plans to invest part of their pension in government securities. So the team leader has come across this information and needs to understand what it means so that he can explain to his team members as they plan to invest in the near future. So the team leader has come up with this, has come across this one. So this is a Treasury bill auction result. It shows us the results after the auction of a Treasury bill. And then the required is that you prepare some notes to the team leader, just guiding him, explaining what these figures really mean. So where do we start from? We are starting from defining, to ourselves what Treasury bills are. And I'll start from the general government securities. Government securities are basically the debt instruments, okay? These are debt instruments that the government uses to borrow money from the public, okay? We know that these instruments, they include the bonds. In the investment analysis class you had on Monday, we talked about the bonds. And we also have the Treasury bills, the one that we have today. Now, Treasury bills are part of those debt instruments that are used by the government to borrow money. As you may be aware, the government usually has quite, a lot of things that it does, right? It undergoes a lot of different transactions, okay? And they need quite a lot of money. They may not have that money. And one way on how they finance this project is just to borrow money from the public. So now, the Treasury bill, the way how it works is that term instrument used to raise funds for the government, all right? The way how these Treasury bills are, we say they are short term because the tenors, the period that you can lend the money is less or equal to 1 year, right? It is less or equal to 1 year. It's not more than 1 year. And so the treasury bills are usually sold at a discount to their face value. So you find that the face value, this is the real value that you're going to find, or the maturity value that you're going to get from this particular investment at the time this investment does mature, right? When this investment matures, you are expected, you're going to receive a certain amount on maturity. Now, this amount is called the face value, but the amount at which you buy this bill is usually at an amount less than this face value, and this is called the cost. This is the cost of the bill. So the difference in the much you buy the bill and the face value of the bill is sorry, I'd been logged out by the network, but I am back to continue the conversation. Okay, so let's start with these. We can start with the last. Let me just start. Let me zoom so that you are able to see. Trying to mute those people's mics whose mics are on, like Mr. Nyaren. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the first column. The first column has tenors, all right? And the tenors, these just represent the time period to maturity. This is basically the time period to maturity, how long you lend the money to the government. Are we still connected? Anyone to just confirm you can hear me clearly?
And I'm getting you clearly from my end.
Thank you. Thank you. So, for example, the first option, you can lend the money for 91 days, that's 3 months, 182 days, 6 months, 773 or 273 days, that is 9 months, and 364 days, which is 1 year. So those are the options that are available to lend the money. That's what the first column, that's what the information has. It just communicates someone the options available, how long they can lend the money to the government. Okay? We are told that we are not really supposed to talk about the international, the identification numbers. This is just an identification number of this security, but we are not really supposed to talk about it according to the question. Really, an identification number, an ID number for the bill. So the amount that is offered at cost. Now, the amount that is offered at cost, listen, this one is how much, right? This is how much the government, of course, through the Bank of Zambia, was willing to raise from the public for each period, okay? The amount offered, this column, shows how much the Bank of Zambia or the government through the Bank of Zambia was willing actually to raise from the public for each period or for each tenor. So it is actually the cost price, not the face value. This is the cost price, like how much they were willing to raise in terms of the costs, okay? Not in terms of the face value, like what they were willing to have, of course, at the end of the period. No, this is what they were willing to raise at cost. That's what that means. So, for example, for 91 days, they wanted to raise 360. So they wanted they were willing to raise that much. Then for 6 months, 410, 430 for 9 months, and 600 million, for 1 year. So these are different options. And the people, depending on their interest, people gave the money. And the people usually give the money. Always, people give the money, right? People give the money. So there are those that were willing to give the money for 1 year, and the money that was raised through that, they wanted to raise 600, and altogether they wanted to get 1.8, which is 1,800,000,000. 1.8 million, which is actually, what is this? What is this? What is this figure? It's 1 million, right?
Million.
800,000. That's in million, yes. So that's how much they wanted to raise. Then when we go to the second column, this one, the amount bid first. The amount bid face value, by face value, the amount bid. The amount bid is basically the total amount that the investors themselves wanted to buy, right? Or the total amount that the investors wanted to really to buy, of course, expressed in terms of the face value. So the total value of the bills they wanted to buy expressed in face value. So this is basically the amount they expect to be paid back at the end of the period. That's why we say face value. They wanted, they wanted to buy that the bills worth that much at the end of the period. How should I put it? Like you invest whatever you have invested. Let's say you were investing, actually you are investing 97, let's say 97 per bill, right? Then the first value is 100. So you want the amount that you want to raise at the end of the period, at the end of the maturity period, of course, at maturity, is what we are talking about as the amount bid face value. So the amount bid, this is the amount that the different investors had to bid, right? So it's the total amount that the investors wanted to have, or the total value of the securities that the investors wanted to buy, of course, expressed in terms of the face value. Usually this does reflect the demand. Okay. Then this one, the amount bid at costs. The amount bid at costs, interestingly, it is the actual amount that the investors were willing to pay, because the face value is what they expected to receive at the end period, isn't it? after maturity, that period, the amount that you receive from your bills is what you call the face value, isn't it? But at cost, this is how much the actual amount they are willing to pay. You know, the investors were actually willing to pay, to purchase the face value. Okay, that is the that is how much they were willing to pay. Okay, to get that face value. For example, on this one, I'm just using the example of 90 days. The same interpretation. They are willing to give 11 what? 111.66 million paying so that they would realize at the end the total value of what? 114.58 million. These are consolidated figures. So this is how much they were willing to pay, okay, to buy the bill. Then when it comes to the amount allocated now, face value, okay, the amount allocated, this is the total face value of the treasury bill that were successively sold to investors. Remember, the government is selling, these bills to the investors. So the total value of the bills that were sold in terms of the face value, okay, like the total value in terms of this value at the end of the period in question, that is at the end of 3 months, it was 114.58 million. That is the amount that was allocated, which is how much the government now sold. Remember, you know how much they wanted to raise, isn't it? They wanted the amount that the investors had to bid by face value. They bid this same much, and they managed to allocate the same amount here. If you check, the government managed to allocate the same amount to this investor here. The investors wanted this much by the face value, and they also gave them that much. Then in terms of the costs, the amount that is allocated now at costs, this is the actual money that was collected, by the government from the investors. All right. Remember, when they are selling, don't confuse the numbers. There is these amounts, the face value, what you will receive at the end of the transaction, like the end of the period, end of 3 months. Then there is this amount, at cost that you are paying now so that you can realize this value at the end of the period. So this is how much the government allocated, which is the actual amount they collected. This is the actual amount actually they did collect from this government, sorry, from the investors. The government, through the Bank of Zambia, of course, collected that amount which was allocated at cost at that particular period, of which the value of this same amount at the end of 3 months shall be that much. Okay. Are we still connected? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yes, sir.
the cutoff bids. We are here on the cutoff bid. When it comes to cutoff bid, remember when you are bidding, investors that have money, usually the people that have got 500,000 and above, these are the guys that can compete usually in the competitive window. So when they are bidding, this is what they say. Okay, this is what they are saying. They are saying, as we have the money, one person will say, me, I have the money that you government want. Remember, the government wanted to raise the 360, right? That's what they wanted to raise. We have the money. We don't really just have all the 360, but me, I have part of that 360 because this 360 should not come from one person. It may not come from one person, can come from different people. Each one had whatever they have. So I have part of that money. Okay, listen. Now, your bill is how much? The bill is 100 kwacha. You get the point. Your bill is 100 kwacha, like one bill. They say the price of the bill is 100 kwacha. That's the face value. Okay, the government has said one bill is 100 kwacha. So I am willing. So you have to buy these bills at a discount, okay? That's how it works. So someone will say, me, I'm willing to give you money as long as you sell me each bill at 97.35. You understand, eh? That is the cutoff, like the smallest they had. Okay, the amount. Someone will say, me, you can just sell it at 97, one bill, so that at the end of 3 months you give me 100 kwacha per bill, so that I can realize maybe 3 kwacha difference. You get the point, right? Then someone will say, no, me, I can give you the money if you can sell it maybe at 96. You understand? People are bidding. Someone will say, okay, no, me, I can give you if you sell it at 95 so that I can realize 5 kwacha difference. Someone will say, no, me, I can even give you at 98. You can sell it at 98, then I get 100 at the end, which is just 2 kwacha difference. So different investors are going to be doing this process that I'm explaining is a process of bidding. That's how it is done. It is done electronically, though. Yeah, it is done electronically on the investors portal. You can easily do those things. Yeah. So once that is done, listen carefully. Once that is done, many people are going to place their bids. Then the government is going to rearrange through the Bank of Zambia, of course. The Bank of Zambia is going to rank these bids, starting with the cheapest. And the cheapest in this case is the one that is closer to 100, isn't it? The one that is the bid, the cut bid that is closer to 100, because it means that it's cheaper to the end of the government or to the end of the Bank of Zambia, because we are just giving you, let's say you just want 98, which means you just want to realize the 2 kwacha on each of the bill. So at least you are the most affordable. Then they will rank them like that. So then they'll follow maybe the one for 97 who wants a 3 kwacha difference after giving doing the allocation to this one who is the cheapest. Then they'll be going down up to the person where all the money that they want to raise would have been raised. That's the understanding I want you to take. So in the case of this bond, or not bond, this bill, the least amount that was allocated, the cutoff, it was the cut at 97, which means some people might have even said 98. Others could even have said, me, I can buy it at 99. You know, I just want 1 kwacha difference. And so when they did the ranking, the lowest figure was 97.35. And so at this amount, at 97, that was where the cutoff point was. That's what that means. Now, it sounds as if I've explained quite a lot of things. What is the summary now? What can you write in summary so that you can summarize that? To summarize that, you say, this is the lowest price per 100 kwacha of the face value, or per unit of the face value of a bill. This is the lowest price per 100. This is the lowest price per unit of the face value that was accepted in the auction. The lowest that was accepted in the auction was this much. Which simply means that this was the most. This was the least affordable when it comes to, when you look at it from the end of the Bank of Zambia. This was the least affordable. The most affordable, obviously, should have been a number closer to 100. Okay. So I repeat, you can say this is the lowest price per 100 kwacha of the face value that was accepted in the auction, or per unit of the treasury bill, you know, of course, in terms of the face value that was accepted during the auction. Is that clear? All right, then we can now move on.
Just come again. So I missed that one. Sorry, my network.
Yeah, so I'm saying this is the lowest price for each 100 or per 100 of the face value that was accepted in the auction. Remember, the value of a treasury. Okay, So now the lowest that was accepted was this one. Like in terms of descending from 100, we are coming down. These are the discounts. We are coming down. So the lowest discount was 97.35.
Forbid.
You got it?
Yes, sir. We are good to go.
Okay, thank you. And so the meaning is that if you want a higher yield, a higher price, if the price is high, you know what this means? If the price is high, meaning it means there will be a lower yield and vice versa, isn't it? If the bill is expensive, it means the yield, I mean the return, the output, the return that you get as an investor is low. For example, you find that per 100, you start buying it at 99, which means your yield will just be 1/4 for each of them. You get the point, eh? So this is what the point means. Okay. Let's move on to what now? The cutoff yield rates. So this is the yield rates that we had, the cutoff yield rates. Yeah, we're expressing this in terms of the percentages. Okay. Yeah, it was 10.9%, like the return, in terms of percentages. This was the cutoff yield rate. But the range that was suggested from those bids that people were, those suggestions that people were making, people suggested, no, me, I can give you my money at 9%. You understand? So it was ranging from 9% to 10.9. You're following, eh? Someone said, me, I can give you at 9%. Someone said, me, I can give you at 9.5. Someone said, no, me, at 9.7. Someone says at 10 flat. Me, I can give you at 10.5. No, me at 10.7. No, me at 10.9. You understand, right? And the cutoff was at 10.9. Remember, these are just the figures that were suggested. These are the ranges that people, the rates, in terms of the rates that people, the investors, those who were participating in the competitive window suggested, right? I've said quite a lot. Let me summarize it. This is how we would summarize it. This is the range, of interest rates, right? That are accepted for each tenor or for each year. That's a summary. It is the range of the interest rates that are accepted for each year. So they accepted these range. These were the ranges that were there. But the cutoff was what? Was 10.9. And that was the rate or the return for this particular bill. Okay? What about the range yields that were rejected? Interesting. You know what is interesting now? What is interesting about the 3-month and the 6-month? There are no ranges that were rejected, which means that all the money that people gave were fully allocated. You understand? There were no people that suggested the amounts outside. So it means that the last person to suggest had suggested 10.9, and even that person was also allocated some amount. And so the allocation was done. If there were maybe another one who had suggested, let's say the allocation is done at 10.9, all the money that the bank wanted to raise had been raised at 10.9. Then someone comes and suggests me at 12%. I want 12%. So this would have been part of this, the rejected ranges. Okay, it'll be like these are rejected ranges. They have been rejected. Okay, so that is how you interpret these actually, and that is what they actually communicates to you, right? This is what these actually do communicate. Maybe some of the information that you should take home, just additional information. This is additional information now. Right? These higher tenors, if you check the higher periods, they have higher return. Haven't you observed that? the more, think actually it's just reasonable for it to be like that, isn't it? The more period you lend your money, the higher the return. Yeah, you can see that the returns are higher for these higher tenants. Okay, so the longer the treasury bill, then the higher the yield rate it does offer to just compensate you, or for bearing that risk. Now, the other take-home message that we can take is that the government will select the bids based on the cost, cost efficiency. They want to choose the bids that are most affordable from their end as the government. They can't really get those bids that are expensive. Imagine there are these people that are suggesting lower percentages, then they go for someone who is suggesting 25%. They can't do that. That is not reasonable. So they are trying to minimize costs. Okay. Now, what is interesting is that the investors' demand exceeds supply in most of these. You can check that for all these tenants, for example, the total bids exceeded the amount that was offered, showing that people are now having stronger interest in treasury bills. And this was for 2024. This year, if you check, you can even check for the one for 2 weeks ago, because these are done every 2 weeks, by the Bank of Zambia. Like many people, we have an increased number of people that are now participating, in the treasury bills that are buying these. The numbers are increasing. And so we have more investors coming on board to help the government and lend money to the government. It is an increasing trend. Yeah. So this is what is actually going on. Anyways, so that's it.